So, how are you?
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. That is a perfect place to start.
Yes. So I'll give you a quick recap. After our last session, um, the day after, I thought I'm gonna dive in deeper into it, help the exile.
Uh-huh.
I did my morning routine, went to the beach, went back home. Then some part said, take a mint. Like, take a mint. Why take a mint? Then the part says, trust me, take a mint. Like, okay. And when I left the house, I was, with this very strong, overwhelming doom kind of emotions from the exile that we spent with last time.
Hmm.
So as I'm doing my beach walk, see this girl with a blue dress coming into the area. I'm slowly walking, doing my inner thing. Long story short, out of nowhere, Lucifer comes up, says what he says. Immediately, she's hooked and says she's gonna go into the water, the naked beach, and asked me if I want to join. I said yes, and we were both in a rush. We had like a few minutes. We entered the water, and then I see her sexual part really looking at me. So I put the finger at it, like verbally, in a teasing way. Long story short, in about 2 minutes, she was all over me. If I had a condom in the water, we'd probably have sex right there and then. And then I needed to go. This whole interaction was maybe like 15 minutes, 10 minutes. And when I left, I heard a part say, see, that's why I told you take a mint. So that experience kind of threw me away from the exile territory.
Hmm. Hmm.
I can sense it in the background, but I didn't have much access to it yet. Also, I've seen my former best friend here on the island, as I think I told you last week, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
When I was talking with Rachel, she noticed that my system suppresses what happened with him to a degree, and now it's coming up. There was a lot of anger and hatred, the same kind of judgment that the killer part had in the last session. And I had a talk with the killer part about the judgment. He gave me some access to the vulnerability behind the judgment, and
Hmm.
then there were parts that really miss him. And then I had a dynamic with this about a few weeks ago. I saw this very attractive Russian girl at the gym. I approached her, was a good connection. We met, and it gave me a very strong cognitive dissonance because there's a lot of resemblance to my mom with her,
Okay.
and this cognitive dissonance, the shit out of my, let's say, whatever child part.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still sense the cognitive dissonance within this dynamic very strongly.
All right. Is that where you want to connect to today? Do you want to connect with that distance, or is there more your parts want to share? I don't want to rush it. I'm just curious if that's what you want to lean into.
The It's a very strong overwhelm. The positive reflections that I'm getting are just increasing.
Positive reflections about just all of it or
My
some
interactions
things?
with women,
Okay.
I think this is at least like 60% of the overwhelm.
Oh, okay. Right. I'm following now. So there's a part that's overwhelmed by interacting positively. It's not used to that or surprised by it.
Overwhelmed by how positive it is and how they respond to me.
Hmm. What are you feeling right now?
The last few days, the overwhelmed part is looping on what the fuck is going on? This is too much. I cannot take it anymore. And when that part is active, is breathing very heavy.
Okay. What is it that you can't take? You said you can't take this. I'm curious what you can't take.
Like I need to hold on to this belief that it's not in the best interest of women to be around me. And every time I'm getting hit with those dynamics, it overwhelms me.
That women do want to be around you?
So that girl O that I told you about, we are getting closer.
Hmm. This was
She,
dancing.
yeah,
Yeah.
she invited me to a singing circle. Usually I wouldn't go to these places, but uh, she brings out my inner child, and I saw it as an opportunity to connect with that child more. So I go, and as I enter the venue, I see from afar somebody like very excited, like waving at me like this. So I was thinking it's her.
Hmm.
So as I get closer, I understand it's not her, it's the girl from the beach, and
Okay.
O is sitting next to her.
Okay.
Then there was some part we didn't know what the fuck is he supposed to do in this kind of dynamic. So I sat in between them, and I saw how there is this whatever part that has a certain paradigm on kind of what is valid or not valid surrounding jealousy. So that part is was thinking that he should prioritize one over another in a certain ways and trying to micromanage the dynamic on the one side, and then on the other side, the Lucifer, the demon parts, said, well, it doesn't have to be like that. What if you can just be loving and maybe be loved by both of them? So then the part that was stressed said, okay, you know what? Maybe there is something to it. So as we were sitting, I was holding both of their hands, and it was this whole dynamic between them. And then after the sort of singing circle ended, me and O were hugging one another. Then the other girl joined, wanted to hug the three of us.
Mhm.
That caused again a very strong overwhelm. And I'm hearing that overwhelmed part that you just spoke with, saying, I'm going crazy. I cannot take it anymore. So speak with them again.
So you are feeling overwhelmed, and I'm wondering if I should be talking with you or with some protectors right now. Are the protectors willing to give you space?
What protectors?
Well, there's some parts that we were just connecting to. It seems like they have. So we'll just connect with you. Parts that help you out is a good
Mm,
way of putting it.
they're back.
Okay. Right. Um, I'm wondering if you would share a bit about your overwhelm, if you feel safe enough to do that. Uh, I think it might be helpful for us to understand it better, just in the whatever way makes sense to you. You don't have to do this in any certain way.
The way they look at me,
Okay. It overwhelms you when they look at you.
either with gratitude or attraction or trusting.
Hmm. And it seems like you don't trust yourself.
I guess,
What do you believe about yourself?
that I'm bad and everything I touch I win. if I'm this kind of poison.
Mm. And how did that come about? How did you come to believe that you're poison?
What I got from my mom, from my grandma. Can't recall anything positive that my
Mm.
mom said to me or about me.
I'm sorry.
I remember she was threatening me by public shaming in school.
That must have been terrible. I'm sorry that that happened. It's led to you believing that you're poison and you're bad, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know that there's a way to help? There's a way we can help you with that belief.
There's a part of me that said I don't deserve to be helped
Yeah. Why is that? Why do you not deserve it?
because I'm my father's son and he's the same. So
He's the same, you said? He's poison like you? Okay. Well, would you like him to be helped too?
how?
Well, you can give back to him what you're carrying, and then he can give back to whomever gave it to him. We can heal everyone.
That's dangerous
Why?
because then I won't have anything to push against.
Explain that to me. What do you mean by push against?
If I know what not to become, then
Ah,
it
okay.
wouldn't take me by surprise.
Okay. And so if you know what not to become, then you know what to do. What is it that you want to do?
Hide.
Mm. Okay. Does that bring you what you want?
It's less worse than spreading that poison.
Okay. Well, we can get rid of the poison, or at least the belief that you are poison.
There's something resisting.
Okay. Would it be okay if I met with the part of you that is resisting? And I could come back to you in a little bit. Okay. So thank you. Could I speak to the part that's resisting? Is there
Yes.
something uncomfortable in your mouth? Are you making Neo cough?
I feel anger
Anger? Yeah.
and rage.
Okay. What are you angry and rageful about? I
I don't know,
don't know. It's okay.
but I'm caged or suppressed in a way.
Ah, okay. You feel trapped or stuck, like unable to get it out.
Something like that.
Yeah. So maybe something is holding you back. Are you the poison?
I don't know if I'm poison, but other parts think that I am.
Mm, that's a heavy weight to carry. It's a hard thing to carry around when you're not poison. What are you doing? How are you showing up for Neo? I'd like to understand that. There's some reason they think you're poison, but you're not. What is it you do for him?
I'm the one that's supposed to say no, push away what isn't
Okay.
wanted.
And who doesn't want it? The little boy? Or are you unsure? It's okay if you don't know.
I guess the boy,
Yeah. And you don't want it either.
right?
Yeah. Why? Why don't you want it? Why would it be bad to have connections with women? I assume that's what it is. Why do you have to push it away?
It's not specifically women,
Oh, okay.
it's using aggression in order to have boundaries.
Okay. So it's your job to create boundaries?
Yes,
Okay. Tell me more about that. It seems like you want to say more. I'd like to hear more.
probably connected to the killer part.
Well, what about you?
What about me?
Yeah, what about your role and what you do and how it is for you. I just want to get to know you
I cannot do my role because other parts perceive me to be poisoned.
because they don't want you to get out and to be rageful or angry.
They perceive anger as negative because whenever I was out, bad things would happen.
Okay. Yeah, so they suppress you.
Yes.
Okay. You just want to help Neo set boundaries.
Yes.
I hear you. What are you noticing? There seem to be a thought there.
I'm masculine and it's not okay for me to be out because whenever I'm out, there's punishment or
Hmm.
negative repercussion.
Right. Right. So you're between like a rock and a hard place, I hear. You want to be out, you want to set boundaries. When you're out, other parts are angry or upset with you. Is that it? Or is there something I'm missing?
Wouldn't say they're upset. They just had to put a lid on me so the boy wouldn't get punished.
Okay. Okay. So I guess I'm curious about something. Are you aware that he's not like Neo isn't little anymore, that he's not being punished? And that's probably really a question for the protectors that put a lid on you. Maybe you are aware of that. Maybe they're not. Are you aware of it?
I'm aware that I'm connected or a part of the killer part.
Okay. Does he get punished? Does the killer get punished?
Yes.
By whom? And is that who I'm speaking to now? Is the killer here?
By my mom, by my grandma.
Okay. But do you know that Neo is older now? Is he still being punished? He may be. I'm curious about this. Are people still punishing him?
Punishing him. I don't see it as punishment. So what I see is, so me as the killer part,
Hmm.
I have I'm like this Russian doll, but it's a doll within a doll within a doll.
hmm hmm
and deeper layers that are younger versions of me
Yeah.
are stuck.
And I would, this is an assumption. I'm not sure. I want to check this in with you. Are they stuck because the young boy is unburdened? Are they stuck because he's stuck?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are, let's say, in the same layer.
Yeah. So if we help the little boy, it's very likely that these layers could be helped too.
Yes. And then comes the my process with the judgment that I hold.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So in a recent conversation with Neil or the demon, I'm not sure, I came to realize that I use judgment in order to kind of put myself out of the group of men that I perceive as weak and gay, repulsive, because of their childish behaviors and drama they create. And I realized that there is let's say, a darkness attached to it because by using that judgment, I'm putting myself above them. So I am more, I don't even know how to say it, worthy than them.
hmm
So I saw that darkness within me.
And what was that like to notice that darkness?
I saw that darkness is driven by a sense of worthlessness.
So you you believe you're worthless, or are you sensing the little boy's worthlessness? A little confused.
I guess I'm sensing the worthlessness of the little boy
Okay.
that has that fuels the judgment in order for me to not be in that camp.
Again, my hunch is that if we helped him, it would help you with your judgments. I am thinking you might be holding some of these judgments to protect him.
Yes, and it brought me back to the dynamic I had with my first girlfriend, where I was very loving towards her. At the same time, extremely insecure and acting in a very, very gay way.
And you were young.
Yes. And I was like this. How do you say it? This rug that you use to clean the floor with, mop, I think it's called.
Mop, yeah.
I remember a very specific situation where we were going to get some pizza and she was just so kind of acting in a way that is so disrespectful towards me. And I remember the pain that was in the system,
Mhm.
that level of
Yeah.
gayness that was in me. Holy fuck.
And what did you do about it, right? So that was his distress, his discomfort. What did you do?
I wasn't even, I was extremely exiled.
Okay.
The things that the system put up with back then, holy fuck.
Well, I'm curious, and you're allowed to say no. Is this something you want to understand from the other parts, like why they did it?
I know why they did it
Why?
because they were madly, madly in love and they perceived her to be their savior.
But that sounds like the little boy. That sounds like
Exactly.
the, but I'm unsure. My question is if you wanted to know why the protectors did what they did,
What protectors?
the ones that pushed you away, the ones that kept you, like it sounds like there were a different set of
They
protectors.
pushed me away a long, long time ago, this childhood.
Yeah. Would you like to understand why they did that?
I know why they did that. Because if I was out, there would be punishment. I would get beaten. So I had to be exiled. I understand that. Of
You're very angry about it, and you have a right to be, but I'm curious about that if you understand it so clearly.
course, I'm angry. It's fucking incredible the levels of ethically that the system inhibited with that girlfriend back then.
Hmm. It sounds like Parts and the little boy wanted to be connected to her. That wasn't your agenda.
If I was online back then, it would be a totally different dynamic. But they were so needy that when she broke up with them, it brought up very strong suicidal part.
Hmm.
It was so severe. Actually kind of saddens me
Yes, that makes sense to me. This sadness is for what he had to go through. Partially, I mean, there's probably more, but you can see what this did to Neo, how sad it was, what he went through.
because I was able to connect with the the desire for closeness with the mom and the child. Suddenly came that
Yeah,
girlfriend. Holy shit. If it wasn't for those suppressing parts, I would be done. I wouldn't be here. Pain was too much.
yeah. And this little boy's
Interesting.
talked
And
today a lot about overwhelm. It's too much.
I just connected how around age 6 or 7, that boy sat on the window's edge,
Hmm.
almost finished life. And then
Yeah.
the same part came up with that first girlfriend, with the breakup.
Mm. They're connected.
Oh, I can see how broken the child is.
Yeah. He wanted to be loved and felt he was unlovable. Not only felt, at
Something,
times was told.
I experienced as if self-energy just got into me a little bit.
Yeah. What was that like? What is that like?
I'm more relaxed and I breathe differently. And I feel more sorry for that boy instead of criticizing or judging him.
Would you like to connect with him now?
So some part told you about this Russian girl.
Hmm.
It's been a while since there was a desire in the system to connect with kids. And it got stronger recently. And then that Russian girl says she has a kid.
Hmm.
Very surprising for me to hear that. And she invited me to come over to her house at some point to play with the kid.
And did you accept?
We didn't schedule a time, but I
Yeah.
feel very honored by that invitation.
Yeah.
And for some reason, with that Russian girl, that demon, Oh my God. He came up so strongly, wanting to pleasure her so badly.
That's something you're curious about? Do you want to understand? Or does the demon want to share more about his desire for her?
So the demon is saying that it has been quite a while since I've been so fired up
Hmm.
with a desire to pleasure that woman, because pleasuring her, it's like I'm pleasuring myself.
Why has it been so long?
I assume it's because there was a resistance towards these women that resemble my mom with their Slavic patterns. And because of the inner work, it has been manifested in my reality to attract this experience. I imagine that part of the reason why I'm so fired up is because I get the sense that she could handle me.
Mm, that must feel good. I'm curious. Does the young boy feel that way too? That she can handle him?
When we uh, met uh, on a beach date and we were in the naked beach and we're in the water and I saw that she's completely open towards me. The boy was such a dissonant. When we were in the water, she showed me something called water dance. It's where I'm supposed to be completely passive and she's grabbing my head or my hands and just making me float with the water. And it was interesting to experience how hard it was to surrender
Hmm.
the body. And I was, okay, why is it so hard? And then I understood that it is the child that cannot believe what is happening, how she's carrying him. So then after
Yeah.
about 2, 3 minutes, I told her, wait, I need to share something with you. And then I shared everything that is happening in the system. And it did relax the boy that I spoke for him.
Hmm.
But yeah, the boy just couldn't believe his eyes. And I told her that.
And how was that for you to tell her all those things? And what I'm asking is, are there parts that appreciated it? Are there parts that didn't like it? I'd like to hear from anyone that had a viewpoint about that. Speaking for the little boy, how did other parts feel about that?
Well, the other parts are very used to it, to this kind of vulnerability. There was a little bit of a worry because she's Russian, that she might, they, from my experience, they tend to have some, let's say, issues with vulnerability. So there was a part that was a little worried that it would turn her off if I would share that,
Hmm.
but I was willing to pay the price if it were to happen because it's just me being honest. And she received it very well. So yeah.
And I'm curious about the angry part.
Hmm.
How did how did you, if you were available, how did you experience this?
It was fascinating to me because since the initial emotional awakening from age 26, 7, it's been a long fucking process where the demon is all about sharing vulnerability, and then I have my judgment, trying to resist it
Hmm.
because I didn't want to experience the pain of the boy
Yeah.
by experiencing rejection.
Sounds like this pattern is very well known to your system.
Yes.
Okay. So I am going to jump in and say, so there's a way to help that when you're ready.
Something gets me disconnected.
Hmm. My guess would be it's a part that isn't ready.
Hmm.
It's uncomfortable about this.
So recently, when I was talking, for example, with that Russian girl and and with that other girl, when I hear their dynamics with men, there's a lot of judgment towards how some of them behave.
How the men behave towards her? Is that what you mean?
Generally.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but the strongest judgment is towards my former best friend. This still breaks my brain. And from a higher perspective, some part saying that this guy is here to mirror back to me patterns that I judge very badly.
Mhm. What does it mean to judge them badly? And what are you judging?
His weakness
Okay.
and pisses me off so much.
It must piss you off that this little boy is weak too.
That's the mirror.
Hmm.
And that I was going through as part of integrating all the shit that happened with all of them. Very often I'm going back to all the texting and voice messages over and over and over. And I saw how other friend was talking about him, saying whenever that former friend is getting overwhelmed by the sense of worthlessness, he cannot see anything. That's it.
Hmm.
And then I'm doing a comparison between that and how I was with the first girlfriend.
A lot of mirroring going on. It's great to know too. I just want to speak for this. It's great to know how much your parts are willing to give you the awareness, to give enough space for self energy to be present, to look at all of this. Because otherwise you wouldn't see it.
Yeah. So if I try to do the comparison, I'm thinking who was more pathetic, him or me at the time?
Hmm.
I think it's a similar level. At the same time, I don't know if I were to betray friends because of the sense of worthlessness to maintain a relationship with a girlfriend. I don't know,
Hmm.
but I can understand how the worthlessness can overwhelm so much.
Well, the little boy is the one who's carrying it, and he's carrying a lot of worthlessness.
When I think about that former friend, I can see him as a child. Then there's some part saying, what if he was a part of the system?
And how would that be? How would that be if he was?
Then my first reaction is that it means the situation is very severe.
And what does that mean? What does that mean to you? I mean, I know what severe means, but what does that mean to you if it's severe?
It kind of overwhelms me to be exposed to that. Noticing how much resistance I have. Because it's like I'm afraid that it would infect me somehow with this, with its weakness. And I remember how I did this acid trip maybe a month ago. I saw these videos of babies, and I felt repulsed sometimes by how fragile and dependent
Yeah,
they are.
right. That makes sense to me, right? You're talking about vulnerability is not something you're comfortable with. It looks like weakness. And yet it seems like it's compelling to some other people, right? To some women, largely.
What is compelling?
Vulnerability, it seems repulsive to you.
It's not the vulnerability, it's the inability to be responsible for and attend to the vulnerability, and then putting that vulnerability, the responsibility of others. This is what repulsive to me because this is what I would categorize as being as weakness.
Is not being able to take responsibility for your vulnerability. I'm not quite following that.
It's not that I have specifically an issue with vulnerability. For example, with that Russian girl, I was very vulnerable, but I didn't put my vulnerability her responsibility.
But I heard a part say it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't completely comfortable.
It was a little bit of how she will take it, but maybe it was 5% uncomfortable.
Mhm. It's probably a good bit of the boys' concern. Makes sense.
Hmm. When I think about this friend, I'm getting so angry.
Yeah. What do you want to do about it? What would be the right thing for you to do? Not
If it
saying it
was
will
possible,
happen.
if it was possible to slap his fucking face so he could wake up and take responsibility for what he did, this is what I would
Okay.
want to do.
Yeah. It's probably not going to work though, huh?
No,
Is that what angers you? It's because you can't do that?
uh, in the last week, there some part or whatever helped me to do a U-turn about the anger, saying
Okay.
when you point at him and you're angry, what could it be that you're angry for
Hmm.
about within? And then I was angry about the fact that there is this pattern in my system to blur out red flags and negative behaviors in order to maintain connections.
Hmm.
I'm angry about that.
Gotcha.
Hopefully not gonna happen anymore since I'm here.
Well, my thoughts are it likely will happen again until the exile is healed. You'll do a great job of protecting it. I know that you will, but I'm not sure it's going to stop happening.
Something is resisting connecting with the exile.
Yeah. Whomever is resisting, would you be open to sharing about that? What's uncomfortable for you? And that might be the wrong word. What is it that's resisting?
The killer hasn't come to a proper place yet for that integration to happen.
Okay. What does he need? Or would he just like to speak for himself?
The killer needs to keep going through the process of softening like happened 20 minutes ago.
Okay. So how do we do that for him? Or how does he do that?
Just like happened in the session, needs to understand more things and become more aware. So I was asking the killer if he's here, and he says yes. And then I asked him, I showed him that former friend to see what comes up in him.
Hmm.
Killer is also pissed off a little bit that there are parts that even miss that friend.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm asking him what's so bad about it, and he says that he doesn't deserve any resources from us toward him for what he did.
Yeah, that's fair. They don't, people don't deserve, you know, anything, but it also keeps us locked. It also keeps us stuck.
The past few days, I dreamed about him almost every night.
Okay. What were the dreams about? Were were you angry with him? Were you connecting with him?
The main one that I remember is we were living somewhere, and in the dream, I was trying to help him kind of see himself and understand what is happening, while
Hmm.
also being very soft about the fact that he owed me a lot of money. And then when I started to bring up the topic of money, his protectors came up very strongly. And then I cried out of powerlessness towards the fact that he's even behaving this way.
Hmm.
Like, how the fuck can you behave this way? I could, the powerlessness of the sheer shock of how he's behaving made me cry in the dream.
Yeah. And what is the killer sharing with you about this dream? What does he want to connect with or let you know about it? This dream seems important.
The killer is saying that the part that's quite in the dream is living in some kind of a fantasy world
Okay.
because of the darkness in the system that didn't allow seeing the red flags that were there all along. So the part that was crying or also wanting, I assume, a connection with him. But then when
Hmm.
he reacted this way towards the money,
Yeah.
that part broke down because his illusion was dismantling
Right.
in front of his face.
It sure didn't turn out the way you wanted it to.
He wanted closeness with him, but then he was faced with reality. So he started to cry out of
Yeah.
powerlessness. If I was in his shoes, oh my God, I would feel such an intense degree of shame, but he probably rationalized it in some way.
Can you say that last part again? I missed.
But he probably rationalizes,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, because he has a different part in the lead, and he
Jesus,
probably has less access to self than you do. At least in that moment. I mean, I don't want to speak for him.
I was talking about the friend.
Right, right. That's what I mean.
Mm,
He has much less access to self than you do.
yes, that's for sure.
Yeah. So it's hard for him and for you to connect.
It's crazy to me. How can one be so overtaken by a shadow like this? Even my mom is in complete shock.
I'm gonna invite this question again, and I'd like for you to ask different parts, and they can all share, or you can listen. What would they like to do? What would they like to do about this? I imagine they're different responses.
This, you mean the friend?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did there are parts of you that cry and are sad? There's a part of you that doesn't understand it, how someone can act this way. And I'm curious about what your parts think should be done about this situation.
The agreement so far was to give it more time.
Hmm.
I saw that he unblocked me from WhatsApp recently, somewhere recently. So I assume he's doing some kind of a process, hopefully.
Hmm.
Probably another friend that understands kind of what is happening is helping him.
Okay.
So the agreement so far is to give it time
Okay.
and let him settle in this place. And probably when he sees me, a lot of stuff come up in him because deep inside, I believe he understands very well what happened,
Hmm.
like all of the group.
And are all of your parts in agreement with this? Give it time. That's what you're hearing everyone saying.
The killer part just wanted to approach him while the friend is there and ask him, what about the money that you owe me that I paid for you for this, and that?
Yeah.
But other parts resisted. So the agreement so far is to give it time.
Okay.
So at least if I approach it, I could approach it in a place that is less triggered. Because my protectors will probably bring up his protectors.
Hmm.
There's a part saying it's interesting how the exile came up last session so strongly, but then other things kind of took over.
Yeah.
And so sensing the strong overwhelm
Hmm.
from different angles.
Glad you're noticing that. Yeah. Appreciate the self energy and awareness that's available in your system. Just acknowledging that.
There's a part that is laughing, saying,
Hmm.
I did some kind of post on Facebook, and there was this guy that I know here.
Okay.
Um, Seems like a pretty awesome guy. We connected, and out of nowhere, he made this comment on one of my posts. It came out of fucking nowhere, kind of, in my estimation, projecting something of his own. But
Hmm.
that was the first kind of uh, negative comment that I received after starting to upload things, our sessions, and going back to uploading content.
Hmm.
And it did trigger my system. At the same time, the the response was pretty self-led. So it de-escalated. Uh, Probably the demon is in a way excited towards further tormentors, as we say.
Oh yeah. It's all a possibility to learn. Yeah, we always have the possibility to learn. Yeah. And again, I'll just say I appreciate your system's willingness to allow you to do that, to do this exploration. And to do this, it's very vulnerable. So these protectors, right, especially this angry one, to allow you, to enter into this, is a gift. It's a gift. He's giving you a gift.
And there's also appreciation towards you that you are also willing to be in this spotlight, let's say, this way.
That's kind of you. I think my spotlight is probably less though. You have
Uh,
1,000 watt bulb. I have like maybe a 25. So, but yeah, fair enough.
well, from what I see from other therapists and practitioners, most of them would even resist just recording sessions,
Mhm.
not even talking about uploading them. So
Okay.
there's a lot.
Okay. Well, I'll receive that. I can take that. And so maybe a 500 watt light is on me. So
There you go.
yeah, we're gonna have to wrap up here. I think this
Hmm.
is a good place to pause too. So,
Yes.
well, thank you for your journey.
Thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, take care.